And what began as a sit-down strike in a single hospital in the Ashanti region capital has spread across the country like wildfire, leaving thousands of sick persons stranded at the point of healthcare. Medical laboratory scientists across the country have stepped away from the microscopes in solidarity with their colleagues at the Komfanochi Teaching Hospital, who began last week over the appointment of medical doctors to head their laboratory. We begin from here in the Greater Accra region with Kweku Asante standing by the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. But before we speak to Kweku, let's join Maxwell Agbagba, who joins us from Ho. Hi, Maxwell. What's the situation at Ho?
Well, Daniel, the situation mirrors what is happening across the country. Here at the Ho Teaching Hospital, right behind you, you can see these red bands here indicating that the strike is in full force. Just some minutes ago, I had the opportunity to see an internal memo addressed to the acting chief executive officer of the Ho Teaching Hospital. And in that letter, the laboratory scientists here are formally notifying the acting CEO that their strike will take, it's in full force now, starting today. And they actually stated in the concluding part of the letter that they are hoping that authorities responsible for dealing with the matter will be able to resolve it so that patients who have been reporting here will not face, the inconvenience. But if you can't hear, right behind me, you can see some of these people here. They came to the laboratory to have their samples tested, but it looks like we are not getting any response as a start right now. Let me speak to a lady who has been here for the past 2 hours. Let me find out from her what the situation is. Hi, you're welcome to join us. Okay, can you tell us what the situation is? What have you been told? You've been waiting here for the past 2 hours.
Last week Friday, not last week, like 2 weeks ago, I was supposed to come back for the results today. Okay. I thought the results would just be ready because I've done the lab for some time. But still, I've been here for like 2 hours. When I left the office, I have to go back there to them. And I'm here, and they are not telling us anything, so we don't know what's going on.
So what are your immediate, alternatives?
I'm thinking of just going back home, like going back to work. Going back to work.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So Daniel, that's someone who's been waiting here for the past 2 hours. Behind me, we still have more people who are waiting to have their samples tested. But like I mentioned, one of the officers here just received an internal memo, and he tells me that they're going to act according to the internal memo. That internal memo was actually signed by the local chapter chairman of their association, the Association of Laboratory Technicians here, indicating that their strike is in full force. So as it stands now, we don't know what's going to happen to the people who reported here. I'm told that for those who had appointments to come this morning, they were able to attend to them. But
right.
Those who are now reporting, there's no hope for them.
Maxwell Agbagba, thank you very much for bringing us those updates. Let's go to the northern region now, where pregnant women are among the hardest hit in the ongoing strike by laboratory scientists at the Tamale Teaching Hospital. Most of the pregnant women at the obstetrics and gynecology units have been there since morning, hoping for a miracle. Others who can afford have had to go to private facilities in town for their various tests. Now, the polyclinic is also closed to the public as red bands have been tied and the place has been locked. The main laboratory where most of the activities normally take place is also locked with patients loitering around. Staff at the hospital who spoke on condition of anonymity said even though they are staff members, persons who are connected to them have been denied healthcare. So they've had to seek those laboratory tests elsewhere. Martina Bugri is on the ground and joins us with updates. Martina, I'm especially curious about this staff member that you spoke to. That is an indicator, isn't it? That's the situation. It's very unfortunate.
Yes, it is. He says he's part of them. When they need help, they come to him. But he's in the core of activities at the hospital, and yet he has a patient. He has to seek services elsewhere for such a patient. It shows how serious the strike is. It means that any other person who comes with an issue would have to look elsewhere because even they who are part of them are not getting the service.
What are the patients themselves saying, Martina?
Most are complaining that it is more expensive to do the test outside the hospital facility. And so most say that they would have to go home, hoping that they call off the strike and then they can return. Because if you are supposed to have 2-3 tests at the hospital, you probably would pay lesser than if you go outside. And so they might not be able to pay for these services. So they prefer to go home and wait when the strike is over, then they will return.
From what you're observing and from what the medical staff are telling you, how is this situation affecting especially these pregnant women that you talked about?
It is affecting activities because if you go and see the doctor, especially a pregnant woman, and then you are given a prescription to go for these tests and then to return to see a doctor, you go and then there is no service. And then you have to travel out of the facility. Most of them would go and not come back. And definitely this would have consequences on their health, especially the pregnant women.
Martina Bugri, thank you very much for joining us with these updates from the northern region. Let's go next to the central region. Richard Kojonyako is standing by there. Richard, how different is the situation there? Is the strike by medical laboratory scientists in full force in the central region?
Good afternoon.
Right, Richard, can you hear me? Right, Richard Kojonyako will join us very shortly from the central region. But here in the greater Accra region, scores of patients are stranded as laboratory scientists at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital have joined their colleagues at Konfanochi Teaching Hospital and other health centers across the country to totally withdraw their services in protest of the appointment of the 2 doctors to head the laboratory unit. Now, Joint Users checks at Kolebu revealed that the hospital's labs are not attending to any new patients since the nationwide strike kicked in this morning. Kweku Asante is at Kolebu, who joins us via Zoom. Kweku, you've been speaking to some patients. They've been expressing their frustrations at this development. What alternative plans are they making?
Right, Daniel, for some of these patients, making these alternative arrangements could come easy, but for some of them, it is not easy at all because the cost at these private labs are much more expensive than at the government hospitals. And so we are calling on authorities to fix this situation as soon as practicable. And as I've been at the lab, I've seen very frail-looking patients come in and try and convince the lab technicians and lab authorities to take their samples for the doctors to be able to attend to them. But the lab technicians see Madam and they are saying that they are not going back to their workplaces. Although they are on ground, they are not going to attend to any patient. And so these patients are very confused and they are saying that this situation is something that has not even come to their aid. For most of them, the first time they heard about this strike at Kolebu was when they came here this morning to seek medical attention. And so this has completely taken them by surprise. Now I've seen some of them that completely cannot walk. They came in without escort, they came in without some family members, and I've had to call them to come for them to go to private lab because these lab results are very necessary for the next steps that other medical practitioners within this hospital will take. So for them, they do not care so much about the situation at hand. What they want is government authorities to come together and fix the situation for their healthcare needs to be prioritized at this point in time, Daniel.
Now, Kweku, the chairman of the Kolebu chapter of the Ghana Association of Medical Laboratory Scientists, Francis Kwachi Entry, who described the appointment of the 2 doctors of Kath as illegal. What more has he been saying?
Right, Daniel, so just like he said, according to Mr. Francis Kwachi, the appointment of the 2 doctors to head the laboratory unit at Konfanochi Teaching Hospital is illegal. And although he doesn't point to me any specific law to back this claim, what he is saying is that there should be the qualified members of the association who can head the units in Konfanochi Teaching Hospital to be able to head that unit. And so they are not backing down on their claims. They are not backing down on their demands. They are not backing down on this strike action until government resolve this situation. They are also saying that in case any loss of lives are occasioned by this strike action, then the blame must be laid at the doorstep of the government, particularly the Ghana Health Service, and also the Minister of Education, particularly that he mentions. It says this situation has been with them for a while now, and they knew that this situation was going to escalate to this point, and so they should have made provisions to resolve the issues of their colleagues in Confederation Teaching Hospital. And so for them, this is a solidarity protest, this is a solidarity strike, and until these issues are resolved, they are going to continue on this strike.
Sante, thank you very much. Now, the medical laboratory unit at the Abrefi Women and Children's Hospital in the Techiman municipality remains closed after members of the Ghana Association of Medical Laboratory Scientists threatened to lay down their tools in solidarity with a sit-down strike by their colleagues at the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital. Now, our checks at the facility revealed that the regional branch of the group are in a closed-door meeting to discuss the possibility of the group withdrawing their services. The facility is, however, relying on external labs for all laboratory services until the meeting ends, and this is affecting healthcare delivery. Anas Sabit is live from the Bunu East region. Anas, first of all, has this meeting ended? Do we know if a decision has been taken by the regional leadership of the Medical Lab Scientists Association?
Daniel, the meeting is still in progress. The staff are still locked up in that particular meeting at the regional level, and we understand those at this particular facility are also participating or involved in that particular meeting. Here at the Abrefi Women and Children Hospital in Techiman, what we can add is that patients are asked to seek for external laboratory services from the consulting room. If you have any lab tests you have to carry out, you have to move out of the facility to the nearest laboratory to do that, and that is delaying or affecting healthcare delivery here. On the door of the laboratory units, there's this inscription where they indicated that the Ghana Association of Medical Laboratory Scientists is embarking on this nationwide industrial strike effective today until further notice, and all their members are to adhere to this directive across the country. And so they say a zonal monitoring team will visit each facility within their zone to ensure members adhere to the directive and help resolve any outstanding issue that may arise. So from this particular notice, it is quite clear that the strike action has been or is taking place already, but we still await for this particular crunch meeting. We are told is in place to see whether they may continue with their services or continue with a strike as it has started this morning.
So, Anas, help me understand this. This meeting, is it within the association or it's between the members of the association and the health authorities or the hospital authorities?
Now, this is mainly within the staff or the members of the Ghana Medical Association or the Ghana Association of Medical Laboratory Scientists. The facility has tried in, consulting the staff within it, but they told them until that particular meeting is over, they are not responding to them, and then they are not adhering to any service or attending to any services this morning. So we are waiting for the group to tell us the outcome of that particular meeting as it stands.
Thank you very much, Anas Sabis, for joining us. We'll come back to you when there's more to report. Richard Kojonyako is in the central region. He rejoins us with those updates. Richard, what's the situation with this strike of GAMLS?
Well, so it is no different from what has been reported from other regions across the country. The solidarity strike is in full force. If you go to the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital, the blood bank is not working because it is connected to the laboratory science people. And so outside the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital, you find a lot of labs, and these are more expensive than what is in the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital. And so the patients have to bear the brunt of the strike of these laboratory scientists. Other people that are also suffering the most are pregnant women that are also waiting for their labs to be taken, and it is having a rippling effect on them, and they want authorities to, as a matter of necessity, sit down with these laboratory scientists to resolve the issues as soon as possible.
Richard Kojonyako, thank you very much for bringing us those updates from the central region. You're live on Joy News today with me, Daniel Daze. Still to come on the bulletin, boy, 13-year-old among casualties in the Breman Community Galamsey pit collapse, which killed 3 people.
And I'm about to choir. Me wa highest me buy a Los man me have my knee. Ko me buy me ko hu ya me ban so wu sam.
Thanks for staying with us. This is Joy News Today. Now, thousands of the governing New Patriotic Party supporters across the country have applied to be nominated for the role of Metropolitan, Municipal and District Chief Executives. The fact is, there are only 260 jobs available, and regional ministers are currently vetting the applicants. Head of the Local Government Service, Dr. Nana Tuata, is concerned about the party's unity at the base, though he says the process has been transparent. Dr. Arthur, who himself endured pushback from 5 other applicants before being selected as chief executive for the Commander Edina Iguafo Abrim Assembly in 2001, tells my colleague Mama V. Oso Abuaje it took the intervention of then Central Regional Minister Isaac Edumaze before his nomination was confirmed.
Everybody wants to go back to serve his or her community, and for that matter, we see numbers like in the Central Region, for instance, 1 district, as many as 22. Cape Coast Metropolitan, 18. I am not surprised at all. It also tells you how transparent the whole exercise has been, not necessarily belonging to a particular political party before you be asked to apply or be allowed to apply. And that's the more reason why we see these numbers. And I'm happy that this time around we are doing things different from some years past. I'll give you my own example. 20 years ago, we applied, those of us who were interested, from Commander Nego Abrim, about 5 of us applied through the constituency NPP executives. From there, it went to regional MPP executives. Before there was interview conducted at the regional minister's office, then the late in Edumazi. And then from there, it came to the then seat of the government, Castle, before we were appointed. This time around, the beauty of the whole thing is that the DCE, on paper, is non-partisan. And the DCE represents the president. And so, if there's going to be an interview, then it will not be right for a particular political party to be the one conducting the interview. That is the more reason why the regional minister is chairing the panel in all the regions. The regional minister represents the president. The DCs will be representing the president at that level, and the DCs work to the regional minister. That is the difference. Those is applying through a political party office. Today you are applying through the regional clothing council, who's chaired by the regional minister. Yeah. It is good that the party has started this way, trying to talk to all the actors. Now look, we are one family. 10 of you have applied. There's only one who will come out as the candidate of the president. But before we get there, you guys pledge your support to each other, that whoever comes out as the president nominee, it is from the same family, and that will support that person. So that this problem that comes always with, confirmation, because I was not the one appointed, then I have my team asking them not to, vote for the president nominee, will be reduced. Otherwise, it will take us a longer period to be able to bring all the actors together, for the years ahead of us.
But local governance expert Dr. Eric Odrosai is happy with the interest shown in the local government system.
It doesn't at all. For me, I'm happy because you see, it means people are beginning to have interest in the local governance system. In any participatory governance system, if you have a lot of people preparing to put themselves up to serve, I think we should be happy about it. Even if they go through the vetting process and they are not able to get it, definitely it's going to be only one person who will get the position. The others have prepared themselves. They have understood the local government system. They are also useful to the society. I also think that because the NPP is going for another 4-year term, many of their followers thought that, look, it's an opportunity for me to also try my hands on the seat. So I'm not surprising. I'm happy because a lot of people are applying, except that the powers that be are expected to put in place a structured arrangement so they will be able to get the best out of the lot. It's like any recruitment process. In any recruitment process, if you get an unwieldy number of people applying, you have to put in a structured, scientific-based mechanism to be able to sieve to get the best out of them. If you are not able to do that, you will lose your focus on the bigger picture and you end up getting the worst. So what I require of them is they should put in place a structured arrangement that would help them, irrespective of the numbers available, to be able to get the best. And this structured arrangement must take account of the real functions of the chief executive. The function of a chief executive is not party politics. The function of a chief executive is to perform the executive and administrative function of the assembly.
You're live on Joy News today. Let's move to other stories. And the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Godfred Yeboah-Dame, has denounced the practice where lawyers unduly use the media to denigrate others publicly. According to him, the situation that sees legal practitioners running each other down over what he described as cheap publicity leaves much to be desired. In what could be seen as a response to the latest epistle by the former Special Prosecutor Martin Amidu, in which he described Mr. Dame as lacking experience for the role, the Attorney General admonished practitioners, to desist from using dishonorable conduct such as disseminating untruths that fly in the face of professionalism as far as the bar is concerned. He was speaking at a sword-cutting ceremony for the construction of a new law village for the Ghana School of Law.
I will take this opportunity to denounce the tendency of lawyers, sometimes even senior lawyers, some of whom have occupied high offices of state and have been leaders of the bar, to deploy social and traditional media to unjustifiably assail the integrity and reputation of senior figures in this country. Such conduct is dishonorable and occasions a breach of the rules of professional conduct and etiquette at the bar. The spread of false information by lawyers and disregard for the cherished values of the legal profession, apart from being disreputable, poses a far greater threat to cohesion in society, especially when it comes from senior lawyers. The misguided crave for cheap publicity and undue disparagement of others must be avoided. The nation ought to be concerned because ultimately, a dishonest bar, it is said, breeds a corrupt bench and affects the core of the society we seek to build.
Let's move to other stories. And the Bremine community in the Upper Dintra West District of the Central Region was thrown into a state of mourning after a mining pit collapsed, killing 3. Among the dead was a 13-year-old boy. His mother, Ya Santua, who was nursing a baby, laments how she had to yield to the request of her son to take part in the illegal mining because there was nothing in the house for them to feed on. Richard Kodjonyakon has been speaking to Ya Santua.
The mining pit that collapsed killed 3 persons at Breman in the Upper Dintra West District of the Central Region. 2 of the dead have been identified already, with the 3rd yet to be identified. But the chilling account of 28-year-old Ya Santua is one that touches on the extent of helplessness of many rural women. She tears up as she narrates how her son took part in the galamsey and calls for help.
So ko galamsey ma pound the same man so abako ena me kunu so ya le oda ya sabia ano honton.
Yesterday he told me that he was going for galamsey and I told him he should not go. I told him to stop so we could find an alternative means of getting what we would eat. He said, "Ma, you are a nursing mother. I need to fend for you." So he left. I was here when they told me that my son was dead. I have not been able to see the body of my son. My husband is also sick. I have no help from anywhere. I beseech you to help me.
We couldn't say I four and so the baby. Let me flood of four. Crabby and shot.
The Central Regional Police Command says it has arrested 2 persons in connection with the mining incident. The 2 are currently assisting the police in the investigations. Richard Kwejinyakon, Joy News, Bremen.
To other stories, and Bando Senior High School, St. Paul's SHS, Awudome SHS, and St. Mary's Seminary qualified on day 3 of the Volta OT Science and Maths Quiz Regional Qualifiers in Ho. The qualification contests have seen the active participation of old student associations, many of them providing the needed support for their former schools to get onto the main NSMQ stage in October. Maxwell Akbakwa has more.
Hip, hip, hip. Well-deserved Pando Secondary School. They've qualified to the National Championship in October. They scored 43 points. Bato Senior High School had 11 points. And then Jolo Senior High School had 6 points. Well, that's a sterling performance. The difference, they say, is very clear. I have some old students here with me.
Yeah, I'm Bright Edem Drefeno.
Oh, okay. You're an old student, which year?
Yeah, 96. A-level 96.
A-level 96?
Yes.
Wow. Tell me, how excited are you and what does this mean to the old students?
Yes, I'm very excited because we were worried when we got, when we got relegated from the national stage, you know. Yeah. Last 2 years, we were a seeded school, and then last year, unfortunately, we were dropped. So we had to start from the scratch. And so it was our prayer that we will qualify back to the national stage and stay there.
Congratulations, guys. Congratulations.
And we conquered. I lack words to actually express how I feel right now. You know, right? My colleague here is an old student of Mali.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yes. And whilst training our contestants, he has always been stressed on the fact that we must beat Mauli. We must beat Mauli. And today, that dream has become a reality.
You're an old student of Mauli School?
Yes, yes.
So you're a teacher at Awudome?
Yes, please.
And you wanted Awudome to beat your former school? Why?
I work in Awudome Senior High School. I receive salary in Awudome Senior High School. Okay. Mauli School took my money as school fees. So now that I am gaining income in Awudome Senior High School, all my support is in Awudome Senior High School. I wish Mauli were in a different group and I would have come to support them. But with Awudome Senior High School, 100% support for Awu School.
Wow.
Yeah, 100%.
Don't you think your old students will be like, oh, why are you doing this? You've not been loyal to the school.
Oh, no. They will understand. Better luck next year. Next year, I think they'll be in Port C. Okay. And they'll meet some other school that will make them, you know, the competition will go in their favor. Too much kokpolo, I guess. Too much kokpolo for them. Kokpolo is a type of porridge. So I think they took it before coming today.
Okay.
They took kokpolo before coming today.
Okay, so not a kokpolo that we know.
No, not a kokpolo that you know.
Okay.
To make us all what we are today. All our skies, past and present, proclaim the name of your mother's school. Truth, love, and sex.
So St. Paul's Senior High School, they've qualified for the national competition in October. Let's speak to them. Sparko, you are the coordinator. How excited are you?
I'm very, very excited, sir. As I told you this morning that we are going to win hands down, we have won hands down. So we are very excited. And they should watch us in the championship, the regional championship and then the national championship. Thank you, sir.
What should we expect in the regional? Which schools do you want to beat? Bieko, Mauli School, which schools?
we would like to beat Presec. Of course, we would like to meet Presec because we are aiming high. Our aim is very high. We are no more looking upon the local schools. We want to win Presec Legon like St. Augustine, Presec Legon, all the major schools that will be taking
all the schools and we are coming with small fire. All the schools that they have been sharing, we want to win them this year.
They are not targeting schools here in the Volta region. They want to contest together big names from other regions at the national competition. We're to see what will happen later in October. National championship.
You're live on Joy News today. Now, Ghana is the most attractive market in sub-Saharan Africa for investors in the power sector. More in business.
Good afternoon, time for business. My name is Darryl Kwao. Ghana is the most attractive market in sub-Saharan Africa for investors in the power sector. That's according to Fitch Solutions Power Risk and Reward Index. Charles Nixon Yeboah has more.
This is coming at a time whereby the nation is grappling with power fluctuation, whilst its energy sector debt has gone past $5 billion. According to the research arm of ratings agency Fitch, the country's score of about 85%, which places it first in sub-Saharan Africa, signify low levels of risk private investors face whilst entering the market. This also points to a secure return on investment for private sector players. Additionally, the population has affordable electricity, whereas there is continued growth in sustainable power sector development. Importantly, the electricity penetration rate in the country is estimated at about 84%, positioning it as number one in West Africa. Fitch Solutions expect markets such as Ghana, where governments prioritize cooperation with the private sector through measures such as public-private partnerships, to see the highest level of investment in sustainable electricity generation sources such as non-hydropower renewables over the coming decade. Kenya is ranked second behind Ghana, whilst Cameroon, South Africa, Namibia, and Uganda follow suit in third, fourth, fifth, and sixth respectively as other markets attractive to investors in the power sector in the sub-Saharan Africa region.
In other news, Ghana's total debt stock could soon hit fresh levels that will be a threat to the economy. This is because government intends issuing $1 billion sustainable bonds from July this year. George Afe has the latest.
The fundraising exercise is part of the initial approval secured from Parliament in the 2021 budget to raise up to $5 billion in Eurobonds, sustainable and green bonds. In April this year, government managed to raise a little over $3 billion in Eurobonds. It later disclosed that it plans raising the remaining $2 billion soon, subject to favorable market conditions. In an interview with the Bloomberg News, the Minister of State at the Finance Ministry, Charles Dubois, disclosed that proceeds from this $1 billion sustainable bonds will be used to finance social and environmental projects like the Free SHS program. But although this might come across as good news, others are looking at the impact on Ghana's total debt stock. This is because of the recent warning from the IMF and the World Bank that it could reach levels the government may struggle to pay its debts back on time. There are fears that the country could fall into a debt distress category soon. This could increase the cost of borrowing for government itself, but the Ministry of Finance, on the other hand, insists its debt refinancing strategy would help reduce the debt stock to manageable levels very soon. The Bank of Ghana puts Ghana's total debt stock at 291 billion Ghana cedis as at the end of December 2020. But some say this might cross the 300 billion mark even for the first quarter of this year. According to World Bank President David Malpass, he is worried about the impact of these borrowings on future generations who may have to take care of these debts.
And that's business for now. We've got some more business news stories on our website, myjoyonline.com/business, including the GIPC hosting a cocoa value chain investment conference that is happening today. We'll have updates later in the day. Up next, though, is sports. Muftau will have some news on Black Stars preparing for friendly matches against Morocco and Ivory Coast. More in sports shortly.
Hello everyone, welcome to Sports on Joy News. Today I am Muftau Nabila Ablai. Next month, 31 players are expected to assemble for Black Stars friendly matches against Morocco and Ivory Coast. The players invited must prove themselves to remain in the final squad. Akono is putting together for the FIFA World Cup qualifiers and AFCON 2022 because he wants to create a playing identity for the team and does not intend to look beyond the pool of players currently at his disposal. There's more in the following report. The Black Stars will play the Atlas Lions of Morocco in Rabat on June 8 before hosting Côte d'Ivoire at the Cape Coast Sports Stadium on June 12. Head coach of the team, CK Akono, wants to use the two friendly matches to assess the strength and weaknesses of his team ahead of the FIFA World Cup qualifiers and also build a formidable team for the 2022 African Cup of Nations. He says he has a pool of 40 players and he does not intend to tweak the team match so that he could create some sort of stability within the playing body.
In my last discussion, I made it clear that we now have to move on from where we are to a situation where we'll find the way we play, our philosophy, the style of play in order, and therefore it's meant that we keep the squad we have so that we can, get on with what we're doing and so that it will be appropriate. Anyway, I think you also want to see us play a very good football. And it will not just come as easy as one can think. And so, yes, Alfred is doing well, but because of what we have here, what we have on board now, we want to focus whilst we look at him and see how best we can do to bring him to help us here.
Recently, Mohamed Salisu of Southampton, who has turned down opportunities of playing for the senior national team, said he doesn't feel he's ready to play for the Black Stars. Akono, in response to that comment, said he's not perturbed about the unavailability of one of Ghana's best talents in Europe.
We've watched quite for some time now. We understand he's doing well, but his area of position, we have a lot of players there which we are very, very satisfied. And that what he said that he will come when, I think when he's ready. And so I think we don't have much of a problem in that position. And so we'll look at him. When he's ready, he will let us know.
The two friendly matches are being played to fill a void created by FIFA and CAF for their decision to postpone the 2022 FIFA World Cup qualifiers, which were slated for the first and second week of June.
Hello there, good afternoon. Welcome to Showbiz here on Joy News today. Now, highlight musician Kwabena says anyone who judges him by his photos on social media is unwise. The award-winning musician has been accused of being gay because of his recent fashion style. In an interview on Hit FM, the ASO hitmaker debunked the rumor, stating that he is not gay as people are perceiving.
Seeing a picture actually is able to inform you about somebody's sexuality.
Well, that's why I asked you that. We all know that it is feminine, right?
Andy, listen. They are actually talking about my sexuality from a photo. By watching a photo. Then we have a long way to go.
But have you heard it though?
Even if I did, I wouldn't react to something like that.
I'm not saying you must react. No, I'm not saying you must react. Have you heard that people tag you up?
For me, for any human being to watch a photo and could make judgments, I want to watch that particular human being and watch that particular human being again.
Really?
Of course. Appearance is deceptive. You are not being wise then. I'm sorry. I'm trying to choose my language. If you can watch a photo and make judgments and can know what the person does in the bedroom, knows the clothes the person wears, know everything from a photo, hey, then you are such a supernatural human being.
And that's this bulletin of Joy News today, ending on that note. For more news, log on to myjoyonline.com. Latest stories, the biggest being go to court to vindicate your position, Ekufado to affected parties in Galamsey fight. And if any patient should die, blame cath management. Lab scientists warn a strike intensified. That was our lead story for this bulletin. Expect more on that and other stories when Gifty and Apia joins us with a pulse at 3 p.m. But up next is the marketplace. Have a good day.